Good morning. Welcome to CSLDallas, a Center for Spiritual Living. We're in our last Sunday of Zoom to Prosperity, and we're so grateful that you have joined us this morning. CSLDallas is radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And we are completing our prosperity program, Zoom to Prosperity, and our Adventures in Spirit Pledge program. Today is our last Sunday for all of that. If you're new to us, you can go to CSLDallas.org and go down to the bottom of our webpage and sign up for our email news. And if you have been around for a while, we so love to connect with you across the miles and the airwaves of technology. We're grateful that you have joined us this morning. And sit back. Here we go.
Welcome everyone to Celebration Sunday. This is the day that we celebrate our AIS campaign, Zoom to Prosperity. It has been a fabulous month. It has been a great month of giving, prosperity, and abundance. And today, we're here just to say thank you. We want to say thank you to everyone who pledged, everyone who gave, no matter the amount, whether it was big or small. And at the same time, if you have not given yet, it is never too late. Even though this is Celebration Sunday, it's still not too late. So if you haven't given, go to CSLDallas.org/pledge and give now. Now, I want to thank a few people. And first, I want to thank my co-chair, Leah Glazer. Leah's not with me today, but she's here in spirit. And we couldn't have done this without Leah. All the exciting creativity, those glasses that you got for the Generous Givers campaign, all the special gifts, a lot of that came from the creativity of my co-chair. So I want to make sure that I thank my co-chair. But not just the co-chair. There's a dirty dozen of us that meet every Monday. Dozen of us, maybe I shouldn't say dirty, but there's a dozen of us that meet every Sunday and every Monday, and all we do is we talk about prosperity and abundance, and we pray. We pray, and we've been praying, and I want to thank those folks who've been praying. One, Mr. Joe Tinker, Linda Taylor, Christine Volkner, Tariq Rogers, Kelly Stokes, Susan Schwartz, Daniel Jackson, Stefan Von Capo, Deborah Anderson, and Reverend Karen. All of us made up the committee, the AIS committee, that's been praying for your abundance, praying for your prosperity, and praying that we meet our goal. Now, normally we would be telling you that we made our goal and we made this much more over our goal, but we're in a different kind of pattern right now with this COVID-19. So right now we can't tell you as we're making this recording what that amount is, but you can bet that within a week, we will email you those results, and you'll know that we had more than $947,000 and more than 250 people pledging. And you will know that once again, CSL Dallas has made their AIS goal. It happens year after year after year. We make the goal, and we bump it up every year. So once again, we want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you do for CSL Dallas. Thank you for all that you've given. Thank you for praying with us during this campaign. And once again, thank you for giving if you still have not given, because we're going to ask you up to the last minute. Just like with voting, you can do it to the last minute. Give to CSL Dallas, but most importantly, thank you for all that you have given. We are so grateful. I'm Michael Brundy, the co-chair of the AIS committee.
So as you heard, we would normally be really celebrating the results from our Adventures in Spirit Pledge Program campaign. But due to COVID, we are actually filming 2 weeks early. And yet, we're celebrating. And we're having this opportunity to talk about celebrating something that actually hasn't happened yet. What a concept. To actually celebrate before something has fully manifested, fully come into being. Is it possible? Is that possible to do? Well, this is what we call living in answered prayer. Living in the answer before it is actually manifested in physical form. So I want to tell you that you already do this. You actually already know how to do this. Think about a time that you purchased a house, you wrote the contract to buy a house, but it wasn't yet closed. Or a time that you applied to school, but it didn't yet start. Or a time that you bought tickets for a vacation, one that you maybe weren't going to take for months. Or even a time when you got offered a job that wasn't going to start for a few weeks or a month. How did you feel in that gap? What did you do in that gap time? That is what it means to celebrate before something has already happened. And so think about, in that gap, in that in-between time, what were the qualities that you were experiencing? For me, when I think of those kinds of events that I've had in my own life, I felt excitement or anticipation, especially around travel, and the joy of a new home or an opportunity for a new job, right? Lots of looking forward to and can't wait fors. Thomas Troward, who was one of the metaphysicians from the early 1900s who really understood neuroscience long before neuroscience was a thing, he called this cheerful expectancy. Cheerful expectancy. Knowing that what we have done our spiritual work about, what we have claimed, what we have declared, what we have affirmed, what we have consciously planted into the universal law is manifesting. It is in the process of coming into being. And that whatever time that is before the full-orbed expression of that, our job is to hold cheerful expectancy. To wait, to look. Where is it? Is it here? Is it there? Have we seen it yet? Or just to be in that confident place that says it's coming. Now, one of the things I've noticed, right, they'd say, watch pot never boils, because you stand there and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you think it's never going to boil. For me, it is the 3 minutes that it takes a French press for the coffee to brew. Do you know that is the longest 3 minutes? And if I have boiled my water and poured it into my French press and I stand there and I watch it, I'm like, okay, come on. God, this is taking a really long time. But if I know that coffee is going to be done and I go somewhere and I don't know, I put a few dishes away, or maybe I make my toast or whatever, all of a sudden that 3 minutes is gone like that. Because I'm not focusing on, oh my God, is it here yet? Oh my God, is it coming? I'm like, yeah, okay, the coffee's dripping, coffee's brewing, and so there's no question that in 3 minutes I'm going to have that cup of coffee. But if I stand there and stare at it and worry and wonder, that takes forever. So the question is the quality of our waiting, the quality of the time between the time we declare something, affirm something, accept that it's done, or even, quite frankly, do the contract on the house or have the application to school accepted, and the thing that is or let's say start a degree program which could take 3 to 5 years before it's completed. The quality in which we walk through that time. Is it with excitement, anticipation, enthusiasm, joy, cheerful expectancy? Or are we waiting or walking through that with anxiety and worry? When we walk through that time with anxiety and worry, do you see we spoil the moment? And we begin to fray our mental equivalent that Reverend Karen so beautifully talked about last week. Sometimes we can stand in that space with frustration or uncertainty. Why is it taking so long? Oh my God, is it really going to happen? Am I going to be able to do it? Whatever those questions are, if we are in frustration and uncertainty, it spoils the journey. And it frays our mental equivalent, and it frays our trust in the process. And sometimes out and out we stand in that place with fear fear that it's not going to happen, fear that something is going to keep it from happening, fear that somehow it's going to be taken from us, and that spoils the end result. And then what do we say? See, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to work out. And we have simply dismantled, in that moment, we've dismantled the spiritual work that we've done. And so here we are celebrating the end result, not having yet come to the end, not having yet knowing what the end result is in form, knowing what it is in consciousness. In the Science of Mind, it says if we would project abundance of everything worthwhile, we must be free from anxiety or any sense of pressure. Particularly, we must guard against any sense of discouragement, for all of these are an inversion of the life principle. Michael Beckwith says delay is not denial. Sometimes the time is longer than we expected, and yet there's no need for us to become discouraged. Delay is not denial. It simply means our seeds are growing and we are watching the plant that has not yet fully matured. Now, the master teacher, Jesus, he said it this way: ask, believing you have already received, and you will receive. Now, we don't normally ask, but we do our spiritual work, which is like an ask. This is what I accept in my life, and I believe that I have already received it, and you will receive. Do you see? He's already given us the formula. To know that it's already accomplished in consciousness is what manifests. It has to be done in consciousness first. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, he says this: by merging mentally and spiritually into the consciousness that there is enough to go around, we shall overcome the fear of want, and we shall overcome want at the same time, because they are one and the same thing, the thought and the image. Do you see? So when we do our spiritual work and we claim something, we celebrate it then so that we can celebrate again at the end result. If we stay in wanting or needing, the universe simply says to us, yes, you want and you need. So our consciousness is the consciousness of having already received it in that thought and image, in that embodied experience of having already received it. Just like knowing that I've bought the tickets to my vacation, I'm going. I've applied to school and I've been accepted, I'm going. I've been offered a job and I've accepted, I'm going. That job is mine now, even though it starts 3-6 weeks from now, even though other things have to be done. Do you see? There's an attitude of that celebration that is so powerful, of cheerful expectancy, living in trust, in the trust of our use of universal principle. Either we're using it or we're not. Now, we want to really acknowledge right now that we are in this pandemic. There is much to talk about the K recovery. We've never had a recovery as we are right now, right? People who are doing well are continuing to do well, and then a whole boatload of people have lost jobs or have businesses that are struggling, and we don't actually know how that's going to play out over the rest of the year. Now, those are the economic facts, but each and every one of us, whether we're at the top of the K recovery or whether we have up until this moment been in the bottom of the K recovery, each and every one of us have the opportunity to use the spiritual principles to celebrate the good that is already in our lives, and to know that that which we need, we already have. Whether it's a new job, whether it's better investments, whether it's the next thing we need to do, whether it's financial support of any kind, to know we've already received it in the moment that we have done our spiritual work. And so today, we celebrate that end result, that end result for CSLDallas, that end result for you, that end result for you between now and the end of the year or into next year, and know that it is the abundance and prosperity of life itself showing up for you. In the Science of Mind, it says, we should come then to this great reservoir of nature, to this infinite side of ourselves, in full and simple trust, in confidence and faith, and taking those small gifts of our lives which seem so limited, so slight, and so inconsequential, bless them with a steadfastness which has behind it faith in the invisible, a conviction that we are spiritual entities in a spiritual system, and that there is a divine destiny back of each one of us. And if we do this, we shall most surely find that this divine creativeness is stimulating everything in our lives to a newness and a freshness, a new growth that is bigger, better, and happier. This is to discover the secret of life within each. Let me say that again. This is to discover that the secret of life within each is a divine creativeness. You can have it all. You can have a life that works regardless of the K recovery or the pandemic or the economic situation. We can have cheerful expectancy of our good. And here's Oscar to sing this incredible Jason Mraz song for you. This is life singing to you. You can have it all.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May you take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the song in your chest. And may you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest, may you catch your breath. And may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. And may the road less paved be the road that you follow. Whoa. Well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it. I want you to have it all. May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you be questionable health and less stress. Having no possessions or immeasurable wealth. May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guests always be correct. And may you win prizes shining like diamonds. May you really own each moment to the next. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. And may the road that's paved be the road that you follow. Whoa. Well, here's to the good times we're gonna have. Here's to the lives you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it. I want you to have it all. Oh, I want you to have it all you can imagine. Oh, no matter what your path is, if you believe it, then anything happen. Go, 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 raise your glasses. Go, 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 you can have it all. I toast you. Here's to the good we're gonna have. Here's to the lives that we're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. I want you to have it.
Oscar, thank you so much for singing that song. I loved it.
I love
it.
that song. So much fun to learn it. I love it, love it. So let's talk about cheerful expectancy. Isn't there a step to get to cheerful expectancy? Because we've talked about this. You once said, we talked about faith.
Right.
Faith is tied into cheerful expectancy of the end result. And you once said spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer. That specifically is what kicks faith into overdrive, because you said you don't need faith at the beginning of spiritual mind treatment.
Right.
It can give you the faith.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, when you're in a place of like, well, is it really going to happen, or what's happening?
Right.
To get to the place of cheerful expectancy, would you say go back to treatment?
I would say go to spiritual mind treatment. I would say go to a practitioner who will do spiritual mind treatment for you. I would say actually the truth is you can use any spiritual tool. You can use affirmations, visualizations, meditations, guided meditations, but spiritual mind treatment feels like the completest package to move us from I don't know to I know. Right? Because in spiritual mind treatment, we're building the ability for us to see why we can trust that what we know is actually what we know.
Yeah. So it almost feels like in a treatment, it almost feels like I am debating away the doubt, and I'm debating for the truth.
Yes.
That's what it feels like I'm doing sometimes. Yes. And like I'm like debating with myself in my head.
Yes. And so the Science of Mind has a term for that. It's called the argumentative treatment. Oh. And you literally are arguing a case, right? You're arguing a case to yourselves, because we know that in prayer we're not doing anything to something outside of ourselves. The Spirit has already given us abundance. Spirit is already flowing as us. And so we're not doing anything to something outside of ourselves saying, oh, please help me and make me abundant. What we're doing is we're shifting our consciousness so that we can be in that already received place. I'm already receiving the abundance, and I want it to show up as money. I want it to show up as a job. I want it to show up as ability to travel, right? What we're doing is shaping the form of how we want that abundance to show up for us. Yeah. And so sometimes we just know that, and our spiritual mind treatment is just Emerson calls it a soliloquy of a joyous a joyous and jubilant soul. And it's really just the praise of that which I have already received. But sometimes I don't feel that way, right? I don't feel that way. And so I begin at the beginning. There is a power, there is a life that is seeking to express itself, and it is abundant. It is in me. So therefore I can say it's true about me. And in that middle portion of our spiritual mind treatment, we use affirmations and denials. I affirm the spiritual truth, and I deny my fear. I deny my past experience. I deny any patterns of thinking, and I continue to affirm my spiritual truth, right? And I'm doing those affirmations and denials, and it's literally as if we are presenting a case like a lawyer to ourselves, so that when we get to the end, we say, well, of course, not guilty, abundant, boom, yes, that is the, right? And so you're exactly right. Yeah. And so that's the process. And when we've come to the end of that process, and there's such a complete conviction and acceptance in our whole body, then we move into cheerful expectancy from that moment until it actually shows up.
Right, exactly. So for those of you who are new to Science of Mind, we talk about universal principles. So tell me about what are the universal principles? Because we've talked about, when I first started, I thought the end-all be-all was the law of attraction. And you were like, no, cause and effect. Right. Cause and effect. So speak on that.
So the universal principle, the fundamental universal principle is the idea that creation is always the result of an impulse. And that impulse in us is an idea or an intention. In the universe, it's an impulse for life, right? And we call that cause. There's a causal, intangible, and the outpicturing, the effect, the physical outpicturing is, well, there's so many different ways to say that. it's already contained within the cause. And we think of that cause basically as a seed, right? The oak tree is already contained in the acorn. Everything needed for it to be an oak tree is already contained in the acorn. Now, the way that law, cause, and effect works is sometimes it works by attraction. The seed needs to attract to itself what it needs so that it can be grow into a plant. Sometimes it's circulation. I need to give so that I'm able to receive. Sometimes it's the other way around. I need to receive so that I'm able to give, right? There's lots of variations of the law of cause and effect, but the fundamental premise or the fundamental universal principle is that creation happens in a lawful manner. We can understand it and we can use it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing when we're doing our spiritual work, right? And because we're using a law, that's what allows us then to have cheerful expectation. Because I do assume that if I drop something, it's going to fall to the ground. I don't think it's going to go up. Right? I don't question it.
Yeah.
And so we can go to that place of, I've done my spiritual work. I expect now for the form to show up. And sometimes it shows up in wild and wonderfully serendipitous ways, and sometimes it shows up exactly as we expected. Right? But we're cheerful about it as opposed to anxious.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's also talk about how these universal principles, these laws, are working whether you believe it or not, or whether you're aware of them or not. So the big thing is like getting woke, or like a spiritual awakening. It's you realize like all the garbage that came before was, I mean.
Well, that's right.
That's really
that's the bad news and the good news, right?
Yeah.
Right. The bad news is we have to take personal responsibility for the we've created.
Yeah.
The good news is we get to take personal responsibility for the good that we're creating now.
For the future, yeah.
Right. And so we have to be able to do that without blame or shame. We didn't know any better, but the law is the law. The gravity is working whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to throw a rocket up into, you have to understand how gravity works, and until you break out of it, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Right? Until you understand how the law works, you're stuck with the old ways in which that is being created in our lives.
Right.
And so we do our spiritual work to do something, to create something new. And we expect that then to manifest. Instead of questioning ourselves, well, I used to always have this experience. Oh my God, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Right? That's why that cheerful expectancy is so critical.
Yeah.
So the next time you do a spiritual mind treatment or you do your spiritual work, right, your job is to know that you already have it.
Yeah.
And expect it to manifest.
I love it.
Yay.
Love it. I love that we get to geek out together.
Yes. Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you.
All right.